oh, people don't hate gay men. They hate femininity.
Yes.
They hate women.
This is so goddamn true. It's unbelievable. I have always looked at least as manly as I look now. I've always presented at least as manly as I present right now. And the most homophobic of shittiest coworkers have never had a problem with it. Because I was manly and I was rough and tumble and I would do shots and fight people and do all the shit that toxic men did, because that's who I was. The story that comes to mind for me is I was working with a very, very toxic, shitty dude. We didn't have the word toxic at that time. I just called him a douchebag. And we were all at a bar, and I was like, hey, guys, here's some money for my tab. I'm leaving. And they were all like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm leaving. And they were like, you going home? And I was like, no, I'm not going home. And they were like, hey, going home with someone. Woo! And that was work drinks. And I walked into the job site the next time, and I'm doing my shit. And this guy walks up to me and goes, I heard you fucking went home with a dude. And I was like, yep. And he was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, nothing's wrong with me. And he goes, why'd you go home with a dude? I'm like, the same reason I would have gone home with a woman if a woman's been who I was flirting with that night. And he was incensed. And he's like, I don't get down with that homo shit. And I was like, well, you can fight me. I can beat your fucking ass about it. But then everyone on the job site's going to know you got your ass beat by someone who's gay. And he looked at me and he was like, you're all right, dude. No more problems. No more problems. The homophobia was crushed by the toxic masculinity. And it always shocks me how all forms of bigotry go together. You know, the person that's homophobic is going to be a misogynist. It's probably also going to be a racist. Like, shitty people are shitty across the board. So I'm old, and I've been going to Pride for a long time. I actually think this year will be the 30th anniversary of the first time I went to Pride, maybe 31st. And one of the things that I always find fascinating, I was actually thinking about making a video about this already closer to Pride, is how much the environment has changed. When I was younger, and I was willing to punch people or hit them with something or whatever, and I was a violent, aggressive young man, I was needed at Pride because there were gay bashers. And now I'm old enough, and I'm much calmer and nicer now, that young people at Pride don't remember when people like me were needed at Pride. And I get shit. I get people going, why are you here? And I, like, at Pride, the last time I went to Pride, somebody said that to me. And I was like, I was pulling dudes when your dad still hadn't pulled your mom. Like, calm down. And this kid was just like, so, but, you know, it's fascinating to me how quickly things change. And it's something you only realize when you're getting old. Because when I was younger, I used to know people that would invite straight ally dudes to Pride, like, basically as, like, hired muscle. Like, we'll buy your drinks, we'll do whatever. But, like, shit was a little dangerous. And it wasn't nearly as dangerous as it was originally. We had it good. Kids just now have it so much better. And I know that I'm saying an old person thing when I say that. I'm not unaware of the fact that I'm like, the kids these days. But every time I'm at Pride and someone goes, what are you doing here? I'm like, you don't know exactly how badly your parents in this community needed shitty men like me. So obviously I am not trans. I'm non-binary, but I'm not trans. So I'm no expert on this, but I am very, very normal, straight, white passing. So I do have some insight in this. One thing I want to say before I answer your question, I'm going to say horrible shit. Like, this is why they think that. I'm just saying what they think. So nobody come for my neck on that. So that said, first, I think I'm going to talk about why I think men say this, based on what men have said in front of me, and why I think women think this. I think men feel this way because men view being a man as a privilege and as something good. Like, I am a man, that makes me special. No, you're not. You just have an outie instead of an innie, or being intersex. But, you know, like, it's not special to be a man. There are plenty of men out there that are complete garbage. So, but they think it's special. So I think to them, MTF is rejecting something they would never reject and they value. I think that's part of it. I think another part is those type of men are not the type of man you can trust with vulnerable women. You know, I'm sure the most transphobic man on earth is also the type of guy that you should cover your drink around, and you shouldn't take your drunk girlfriend home, because people that view any human being as lesser are willing to view any human being as lesser when it suits them. So I think that's important to factor on, and I think that's part of it. They reject being a man. They're upset someone rejects being a man, and because they're the type of person that is real shitty and untrustworthy, they associate with other men that are shitty and untrustworthy. When I hear good dudes say something like, "Oh, well, I've never heard another man say that," that means they're halfway down the road of figuring this shit out. Because if you never hear a dude say that shit, that doesn't mean dudes don't say it. It means they know they can't say it around you. So the men that are shitty and transphobic hang out with men that are shitty and date rapey, or shitty and misogynistic, or shitty and whatever you want to say. So they think, oh, well, what would happen if a man made it into a woman's room? Well, with the men that they know, some bad shit would happen. They're not correct, because laws don't stop men from doing horrible things to women. So why would a sign on a bathroom door? You know what I mean? Now, when I say the way they're viewing it, they don't view these people as the gender they are. They view them as the sex assigned at birth. Like, I never correct people when they use he, him pronouns for me, because I don't really care. And as I say often, I know what I look like. And to be honest with you, the type of person that doesn't care what my pronouns are is the same type of person where when I correct them on pronouns, they're going to go, oh, he uses they, them pronouns. Whatever, I'll humor him. That's how they think of it, So these are the same people that go, oh, they were born with a penis, they're a man, regardless of anything else, so I'm going to treat them like a man. And the men in my life are shitty and untrustworthy about women. These are the same men that go, oh, you better not do nothing to my sister, and I don't like any man dating my daughter. And it's because they know what the type of man they associate with are. When I used he, him pronouns exclusively, I would have loved it if the women in my life dated a man like I viewed myself as, because I knew they'd treat him with respect and kindness and take care of him and protect him. So there's that. I think that the women that are bigoted in this way have the same bias, because they know what the men in their lives treat them like. They know what the men around them do to them and say to them, and how little they respect them and how much they bully them. And in their brain, those type of men, again, these are trans women, but they're viewing them as men, are going to have access to spaces that were previously safe spaces for them. If I was constantly barraged by the worst of men had to offer, and then one of my spaces that I thought was safe from men I now didn't, I'd probably be pressed about it too. They're wrong, but I also think that those people understand. Again, we're talking about these type of people. They understand that their femininity is given to them by men. And it really is. Because that's the reason they all look the same. Like, go on Fox News and look at their newscasters. They're all the same hair, same style, same clothing, same this. Because to them, their femininity is transactional based on what men think of them. And there was this creator on the app I used to follow, and I haven't been able to find her in a while, but she had a great take on this. She was talking about how trans women don't threaten her, was talking about how people think that trans women are affecting their femininity and trying to replace them or whatever. And she was like, you think you're replaceable, ho? Not me. And the way she phrased it, and I hope I'm quoting her correctly, was just beautiful. Because she recognized that her femininity was assigned to her and given to her and managed by her only. And people where they, like white women, especially conservative white women, accept the fact that they are the number 2 most powerful person in the power structure they advocate for. These white women understand that they're second fiddle to men, but they're okay with it because they're second. And they're not pushed further down like a lot of the people they step on. They're willing to lock in their second place instead of letting everyone have first place, if that makes sense. I think all of that matters. I think that's what it is. And I think because, again, those type of men, there's such an inherent threat of violence with them that they don't worry about F2M, because in their brain, those people aren't dangerous. And I don't think that's the case. I think men are men and women are women. I do think that people that are trans have a much different perspective because they have a vastly different experience. But, you know, that's my take on it. Hope that clarifies things.